Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's DUBKDAD. I want to talk to you guys about YCS Indy, Geargias, and some this little miscellaneous information. Um, First of all, let's talk about some problems with the deck. I love the deck, of course, but after playing I don't know how many matches on Dueling Network and I don't know how many matches in real life, the deck is just so passive unless you're ready to do something. And that's the Geargia Curry version. It's so passive. You guys saw my decklist vid where I was running the armors and the snowman, and it's just like it felt like okay, I have an opening, I can put some pressure on him, but I'm drawing into more cards that are just passive. I'm drawing snowman eaters, drawing another armor, and and all those are great cards, but they don't put immediate pressure. It's like delayed pressure. And sometimes you're in that game state where you need to do some damage or you need to put your opponent on the ropes. And setting an armor when you have all this card advantage on your opponent is something that I'm not liking. Also, same respect with Snowman. I know the Snowman is a great out to Thunder King, one of this deck's main problems, but it's like I was speaking with Josh Graham. I'm throwing his name out there. For you guys who do not know, he's YCS Toronto. He and I have been friends since 2005, so I've known him since he was a kid. A little, I mean, he's arrogant now, but you guys should have seen him back in 2005. Yeah, he was really bad back then. But anyway, like he mentioned, before he was running Rios in his build, he didn't have monsters that could overcome Ryo. And the way he explained to me was this. Let them sit on a Ryo. If they have a Ryo on board and you can't make plays, then chances are they're not going to make plays into your back row. So you just sit there. And one of the things I discovered was that I'll just let my armor sit there, okay? You Thunder King on the field. I'm not going to flip my armor. If you attack into it, don't know what it is, and you see it's a riot, and you see it's an armor, okay, fine. Then on my turn, I'm just going to flip it face down. You're not going to attack it again because you may not want to attack in the back row. And we just stalemate. And then eventually you should draw outs to the Thunder King or draw enough cards that will force the opponent to send the Thunder King to the graveyard to negate a special summon. And that's the way I have been taught, I have learned, I have been scolded that I should play around Thunder King. And, Josh Graham and many others who I've been speaking to are absolutely right about that. And it never occurred to me. I see the Thunder King on the board, and I immediately started panicking. Like, oh no, they're shutting down my plays. I can't get my pluses. And not realizing that, okay, they have a Thunder King, but they're not going to do anything else because they don't want to run into a torrential. So you sit on your armor, and they sit on their Thunder King, and then you both just pass, 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 so one of you can explode. And I think that's very intelligent. Now, again, I'm not saying that Snowman Eater, is bad, but again, I'm not liking the passiveness. I still can't make myself to run the Machina variant. And you guys might say, well, in your last video, you were talking about how it doesn't run bad cards. Yeah, but if you guys remember, I ran Machina Curries at YCS Dallas. I got my feature match, and I lost to Magic Cylinders. Uh, these cards betrayed me so hard. During that tournament, I kept drawing Fortress before I drew Gear Frame. I was so angry. That kept happening all day. Even in my feature match, I was opening with Fortresses with no Gear Frame in sight. So I won't touch these cards with the 10-foot pole, so they're going to go over there for now. So that's the thing about it. That's why I won't run that day, because those cards don't like me. However, I will touch these cards. If you guys are interested in seeing the OTK with double Geargia X in the Machina build, Machina Geargia build, there's a really cool OTK with Geargia X. All right, so moving on, going into YCS Indy. Some people have still shied away from Birdman. I understand that Maxi is a card. I understand that Birdman by himself doesn't do anything. Because let's face it, your opponent goes Magician Shark. Maybe you have Compulse. You bounce the Magician. And then they have Shark. If you have Birdman, Birdman can't kill the Shark. So, okay, I understand that. Birdman kind of sucks if he doesn't have anything to combo with. I understand that. And some people are still choosing to run Giant Rat or, some other cards. The way I look at it is he provides that explosiveness because while the deck is making all these, passive plays, how do you make a passive play? By definition, that's a contradiction, right? But anyway, while you're being all passive, Birdman allows you to turn those passive actions, again, it's contradictory, allows you to explode with the advantage you're gaining off of your Geargia armor. Okay, and that's why I feel that he's important. People have found success without the Birdman, and I understand that. But the way I look at it is, it's going to depend entirely on your luck and play style. And the reason why I say that is, battle searchers have never ever worked for me. I always get paired up against the person who is just like amazing at this game and makes amazing reading. He's like freaking Psychic, that dude from on TV, The Mentalist. He's like the Mentalist from the dude on CBS, and he's like, this has all my shit down. And when he finally does decide to attack into my battle searcher, he has the warning set like a pro. That kind of thing. So that just doesn't work for me. And then the other thing is, once you have your Giant Rat plays, you get your armor and you set it, and then your opponent can deal with it accordingly. And I just don't like that style. It works for other people, but it does not work for me. Something else, people aren't playing Mark II. I think of it as kind of like the Geargia's tour guide in a sense, because on one turn. Earthquake. On one turn, you summon your Lone Fire Blossom guy, tribute, get armor, whatever, they attack into it, or they don't attack into it. Then on your turn, you summon your Mark II, get your arsenal, then you have your choice. You can either go into, race car, go into a race car and start your Birdman plays, and get another armor, or you get another Mark II overlay for Tempo and deal with the an opposing exceed monster your opponent has, and this gives you great play. So I feel that Mark II is pretty important. I was only running one in my new build I have, and I was severely chastised, especially after making remarks about how good it is. And so they asked why was I not running two. So now I'm running two like a good kid. Photon Papilloperative. People were asking, well, why do you run this card in there? Why aren't you running, what's his name? Fairy King, Alberderba Gibberish. Fairy King, this dude. Fairy King, Alberdick. However you pronounce his name. Why aren't you running Fairy King? Amazing effect. Shrink all your guys' dudes. Shrink your opponent's dudes. All your guys are generally Earth, so they'll be unaffected, so they can run over their dudes too. But space is a problem. I'd rather have Operative. Several reasons. And no, it's not to combo with your armor. And I'll tell you why. In a mirror match, your opponent has face down armor. Activate Operative. Flip their armor to attack mode. It goes to attack. He wants to activate, but he can't, because now Operative is going to shrink his attack to by 600. So he'll miss timing, and that's pretty cool. Another thing is you can flip your Snowman Eater. If you have on board already, set your Snowman Eater effect, pop their monster. If you're running Snowman Eater, they've booked one of your bigger monsters and you want to summon it without torrentialing. I've had many occasions where my tuner was flipped, was Book-a-Mooned, in the middle of a combo. So I just special summon some race cars, overlay Operative, flip my tuner back over, and then just keep synchroing. So, those kind of combos that I like. Plus, just dealing with the Spirit Reaper, because Spirit Reaper can be a problem for this deck. And other generic stall cards that just sit on the board and you need to get through, namely Zenmain, Spirit Reaper, those kind of things that you need to attack through. Finally, Shockmaster versus Turtle. I touched upon this in my last video about whether Shockmasters win more alongside Triforce. I truly believe that Shockmasters win more. This deck can make the card easily, however, not as easily as Windups. Windups can make Shockmaster off of 2 cards, and in addition to the 2 cards they use, they put 5 monsters on a board. So, that's nothing for them. For Geargia variants, you have to invest cards to go into Shockmaster, and then without any Monster Reborn or Call of the Haunted plays, the best you're going to get is probably a Bure and a Shockmaster. I mentioned the Bure Shockmaster combo because I thought it was really cool, and then I realized, well, that's not an OTK. Landois does what Shockmaster does when you're going for the OTK and preventing Gores, Battle Fader, Trago, Swift Scarecrow, in addition to stopping opposing, armors, opposing sharks, wind up magicians, wind up rabbits, that kind of thing. He doesn't lock down spells and traps like Shockmaster, but you should use your spell and traps to handle their spell and traps, and then use this guy to handle the monster effects. It's a lot easier to go into, a lot less investment. And I know that this is getting reprinted as sexy, and I'm excited that I got mine super early, but I'll just throw it to the side because I just think it's win more. Then finally, Triforce. I thought this card was win more, and so I started using it. And with people maxing out on this card now, and you're just swinging for 25, 25, 25, 25, it forces them to use another card to deal with Triforce, because he's immune to Mirror Force and Dimensional Prison when he attacks. So down below, comment what you think about the deck, about going into Indy. I think that Geargias will take a lot of spots in the top 32, top 16, top whatever they're going to do, 64, how many people are going to be there. I think there's going to be several different builds and variants, a lot of different tech cards. There's going to be people who's just going to play standard with the Snowman and maybe no Mark II and that kind of thing, and will do well with it because they're going to face opponents who aren't familiar with going up against the deck. They're going to draw cards in the right order, in the right combination, and they'll be able to outplay their opponent because they won't know how to deal with these cards accordingly. I, on the other hand, never have those kind of opponents. I always have the freaking God tier, Yu-Gi-Oh opponent, the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh Savant opponent. It's DUBKDAD, Geargia Discussion, Team DKF, and I'm out.